All right, everybody, welcome back to Linescapes channel.
Hi.
It's great to have you here again. If you're joining with us live, then definitely leave us a comment, say where you're from and how you are doing. And if you're watching this in replay, welcome. I think you'll do something very interesting today with us.
Yeah. So today our topic is the color wheel, and we're gonna try to create a simple version of one together. So this is how it looks like. I hope we'll manage to do it till end. Otherwise, I hope we're gonna give clear instructions how to finish it by yourself.
So, the color wheel is something very important. It's a great tool for artists. It basically, when I discovered it for myself, it helped me a lot with my color combinations. It helped me with my color harmonies, mixing colors. So it's also become like a tool that I use constantly when thinking about visual art or design.
Yeah, and that happened when we did the color wheel video, right?
Exactly.
That was the first time that we really were thinking about it, about color.
Yeah.
As such.
So today, let me show you real quick what we are going to learn. So today, we'll basically learn what are primary colors, how to mix colors, how to make a color wheel, and how a color wheel can help you. So how can you use it? How can you use the color wheel to get, the most out of it?
Yeah.
Right. Okay. I'll look at the comments, and maybe is there something they should already prepare that you want to share now?
Yes, of course. There are a few things that you need. I think while you're going through the comments, I can just tell you what you're gonna need today. So maybe you can also just switch the view for that short time. So to create this beautiful piece of art, we're gonna need three colors, which are primary colors. It's magenta and yellow, and then cyan. That's the blue one. So try to get those tones. Well, it's not like basic red, but you know what I mean. I mean these are if you want to create exactly those colors, then you need those specific tones. And then we're gonna need a compass, something that will hold those two pieces together. You see, that's
Can be a
this part.
pin, right?
Yeah, it's a pin. And then you're gonna also need some brushes, some scissors, of course a ruler, a cup of water, some paper towels, and an eraser. So I'm using those materials, but if you have with you a glass, like normal glass, so that we can do like a normal circle, and then something bigger that we can create a bigger circle with, that would be fine as well.
All right. So, and if someone doesn't have like paint in tubes like you have today, what could they actually be using alternatively?
Okay, so you can also use alcohol markers or colored pencils, of course. I would say those are two best options because they don't get as messy as other ones. With alcoholic markers, you would be pretty fast in comparison to just colored pencils because you need to somehow layer the colors or at least pick 12 colors that would harmoniously fit together, and you need to get some sort of feeling that they were mixed together. So the thing is that when we're creating color wheel, we try to create all those colors just with three primary colors. So
would watercolors work as well?
Watercolors would work as well, acrylic would work as well, and I actually recommend something that it's not water soluble. So also pens, I think the best suitable for this kind of work, the outlines and the naming, is something like alcohol markers. A Sharpie would be fine. If I would do it again, I would use acrylics.
Yeah. So, but you're going to be using gouache today.
I'm going to be using gouache because
Alright.
we have the most beautiful colors and we have the right colors.
All right.
Yeah.
Good. Then I think we'll get to it. I'll just, say hello to Carlos, Nick, Louis is here, Radka is here again. Zoe, it's nice to see you again. Justine, Roxy asking, can you do this with watercolor? Yes, Roxy, you can definitely do this with watercolor. And we have people from New Jersey, California, and the rest of them. Czech Republic have not disclosed their location.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Anyways, if it's your first time here, we are Sonia, Gasper from Linescapes. Broadcasting to you today from Berlin, Germany, and we basically teach drawing and creativity.
Yeah.
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 And today we do the color wheel.
Yeah.
All right, I'll leave you to it.
Okay, so let's start. So you had a bit of time to prepare, but let's say we get to it because I think this process is gonna take us an hour, and it's not a very intense process, but it has some steps. So in the first part, we're gonna create this. So first we're gonna do the outline, the outer one, and then the inner one, and afterwards we can also create this smaller circle. We can also just draw it like beside it, and then we're gonna work on that first. Okay, so I'm gonna take a compass. Let me see that it's like approximately the same size as that one. And I'm gonna just create like a nice circle. I hope you can see it fine. I'm gonna use a bit more pressure.
Yeah. We have a new setup here, everyone. Maybe you noticed that like there's a camera floating in front of Sonia. But, although she's not that visible, you can see much better, I hope, I think. Tell us if you like the new setup. We're filming now from top down instead of from the side. And I think for educational purposes, it's a better way to do it.
Okay, so first we created this circle. I suggest that we first also do the how do you say? We're gonna divide.
Split it, divide it.
We're gonna divide it. Yeah. Okay, so this is an exercise that we usually did in primary school, right?
Yeah, I can vaguely remember doing this in primary school. And there was one interesting thing in primary school that they taught us wrong.
Yeah.
And today we're going to correct that notion about the color wheel. At least I actually learned something that is not completely true about colors and color mixing in primary school. And you might already come across this and notice that, something is off. But today we'll tell you exactly what that was.
Well, let's come to that. But before we do, so as first you draw this circle, so the outer circle outline, and then you take the same radius, and then you just start applying it on the circle. For that, you're gonna get 6 identical pieces. And now we want to split those 6 pieces into even smaller ones so that we're gonna get at the end 12 fields that we're gonna color in with color. So we do that by just taking a compass and trying to define the middle. And the middle is where those 2 lines cross. And then you're gonna later on just use a pencil and you're gonna just draw the lines in that direction. If you're using a regular ruler and you don't have any compass beside you, you can just split your circle into halves, and between those 2 halves you need to have 90 degrees angle first. Imagine that I draw a line here and here, and then you just need to somehow get as even thirds as possible. And then you just draw the lines in direction of the crossing point.
All right. Some basic geometry right there. I hope Zoe approves. You can tell us, Zoe, if we're doing this completely wrong, and if there's other mathematicians around. Maybe there is a mathematical way to get this into 12 parts right away, but I think this is the way I learned it at school.
Yeah, that's how I learned it as well.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm just gonna start to draw my fields. So also don't be too precise. It should serve the basic need or purpose, and that's that it should give you some sense on how to use and apply, how to use color. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So we have.
So Zoe approves.
Zoe approves. That's good. Okay, and I think.
And people are liking the new camera setup. So this is good. There is no way to separate an arc into 3 equal arcs. All right, this is good to know. Well, now we have it in 12 equal, more or less, probably equal parts.
Yeah.
At this point, is it time to pick the colors?
Yeah, now it's time to pick the colors. And this is where we start. And we're going to start with the basic colors.
And now I will tell you about the big mystery of the primary colors and why what you learn in school is not completely true.
Children, gather around.
Gather around, children. Anyone who is late has just joined us, don't worry, you're right, you're still right on time. Just get some paper, make a circle, and we will do the color wheel today. But right now, get the 3 basic colors. And most of us, I also learned it at school, knew that it was, yellow, blue, and red. These are the primary colors.
Yeah.
And out of those colors, if we mix them, we can get every color possible.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I called primary colors.
Mm-hmm.
Now there is a little bit of a problem with red and blue. In the color spectrum, there are also 2 colors called cyan and magenta, right? We depicted them here on the right side. And cyan and magenta, you cannot get by mixing red, blue, and yellow. So actually, the red and the blue are not the primary colors from which all of the rest is, created, but it's cyan, magenta in yellow. And if you look at the 3 colors on the right side, you see then when cyan and magenta overlap, you get like a deep purplish blue. If there was a bit more cyan, it would be like a real deep blue. And when yellow and magenta overlap, you get a real red. So actually, these are the 3 colors that we should be using for this color wheel.
Mm-hmm.
And these are the actual primary colors that we, from which we can basically create everything else. So if you have something along those lines, then definitely get those. But if you don't have, red, blue, and yellow will also work.
Yeah. So what you're looking for is the color that's how could we say, the most balanced out. So it's something that's not too warm and something not too cold. It has not too much red, but still is red enough, and has not any blues inside. So try to pick those kinds out. Okay, so and I'm gonna start applying the color. And for start, I'm just gonna put some paint on my drawing plate. And also use some water. Here in Berlin today is a very sunny, warm day and the paint is drying fast.
Can you show us the color plate? I always like seeing you mix colors.
Okay, and we're gonna start. So since it's a color wheel, and I like to imagine it that it turns like clockwise. That's why we're gonna start with the lightest tone, and then we're gonna progress to red one, and then we're gonna make a turn to blues. And this is also how I'm going to paint. So I'm gonna take my yellow paint. Okay, I hope I mixed it enough. And I'm gonna start applying it here. Okay, I'm gonna put this to the side, and the thing is that what we're trying to do, so maybe I didn't emphasize that enough, is that first we're gonna add the primary colors. These are those three, so the yellow, the magenta, and the cyan blue. And between each of those, you need to have 3 empty spaces. And that's the first thing. So we have the yellow one, 3 empty spaces, the red one, 3 empty spaces, and then the blue one and 3 empty spaces again. So in this case, I'm gonna start here with the yellow one, and then I'm gonna add here the red one as the next one.
So I'm interested, everybody. Did you also learn about this cyan and magenta being the primary colors instead of blue and red? Because this is something that was relatively new to me when I really delved into the color theory. I'm curious, how this is actually taught. If it's something you still know from primary school, it might be red and blue, but if you went to art school or design school, you might have come across the fact that actual primary colors are the cyan and magenta and yellow.
Yeah, I mean, I learned that in my secondary school.
Yeah, but you went to an art gymnasium, right? You went to art school.
Yeah, but we also were graded.
You were graded?
Yeah, we were graded based on the color wheel that we needed to create.
Oh wow, you had to create the color wheel.
Yeah,
wow.
And it's really an art to just create very balanced out color wheel. It's not so easy as it sounds.
Interesting. I think we just splattered around.
Look at this beautiful color. Wow. 1, 2, 3.
Probably I have a confession to make. To be honest, I think I've never did a full color wheel in my life. I never took my time. Man, this is really embarrassing, actually.
Actually, you should be doing this.
Teaching you here about color wheel, and I think I never really painted a color wheel in my life, so I never went to this experience. I just learned about it and I bought, a ready-made color wheel and cropped alt, used all the benefits. Can you say crop the benefits? I don't know. Anyways, I harvested the crops of the knowledge growing on this color wheel without putting in any work.
Yeah, but this is how it's done usually, right?
Yeah.
You can't do everything by yourself.
So people are saying, yeah, I knew it and learned it during art class, says Justine. And Kim, there are lots of different color wheels, depending on the type of color mixing. This is also true. In Lewis, most teachers teach blue, red, not magenta and cyan. Yeah, because blue and red have been taught for centuries, basically. When the color wheel was first starting to emerge, it was in the 17th century, then 18th century, 19th century, they really, where really color theory took off as a science. This is where the first color wheels were then, refined color wheels were created, but it was still using blue, red, and yellow. And only later, when it was really discovered how light bends and which colors actually create all of the other colors that, there was this shift from blue to cyan and magenta. And you also know it because it's very technical, it's very precise. And the printers use CMYK, which is cyan, magenta, yellow, and K is like how much black is added to it. So CMY is very technical how to do it. But still, a lot of artists will just use blue and red, and it's completely fine.
Yeah, but that's very interesting. I didn't knew that till 17th century they were just using basic red and blue.
Even later, because the first color wheels actually emerged. Maybe I think the first attempts were like in Renaissance, 17th century. I think really where the first color wheel was made, and then Goethe, he did a lot in the 19th century. He did his color wheel, his famous color studies. But even him, at the beginning of the 19th century, still didn't get it quite right with the basic three colors. So that was interesting.
Look at those colors. I mean,
wow.
Beautiful.
It looks like a printer.
Yeah, so artificial, right? Okay.
Wow.
So we have the first three colors. So these are our primary colors. And in the next step, we're gonna fill the fields in the middle. So we're gonna mix first you can also choose your own way how would you like to proceed and which colors would you like to mix first. As I said, I'm gonna try to go in clockwise side. So first mixing yellow and magenta, and through that I will create what kind of color? Kasper?
Red?
A red. Would you really?
I mean, I think it's gonna be like a reddish, orange reddish thing.
Yeah, I think it looks more red than orange.
So this is what? These were the primary colors, and the ones that you're gonna mix now are the secondary ones?
Those are the secondary, correct.
So primary colors are the ones who don't mix, and then the secondary ones are already mixed from two primary colors.
That's right.
All right.
Okay, so now, as before.
Well, I think this is a good way, what Sonia is showing right now. If you're working with any paint from tube, it's a good idea to just basically arrange it on a plate the way you will arrange it on the color wheel. I think this is quite a good idea to do it.
Oh, thanks. I'm trying to do this because I think it helps me somehow.
Yeah.
Because before I did a Instagram live stream, and I positioned the colors somehow differently, and through that I did a mistake, and I needed to redo the whole color wheel.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Okay, so this is the first color. Wow, look at this.
Wow.
It became like very strong, bright red.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
It's like a bit of a red orangey, right?
So what I just don't like while using those paints is that it's so hard. Even if you use a lot of paint and try to mix everything together, it gets all soaked up into the brush. And so when you try to mix those two together, you have no paint left. So
I get it. So you will basically have to do again like 2/3 magenta and 1/3 yellow for the...
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But right now you did 50-50.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, people are liking our new setup. They said it's a really good way to see it from top, watch the process clearly, but the arm blocks your beautiful face sometimes, Sonia. So I think we'll have to do something about that. Yeah. Well, maybe we'll put it lower, put it higher. We'll figure it out. We just got this new arm in the mail, and I just put it together real quick before we started. So
we just wanted to try it out.
We wanted to try it out.
Yeah, maybe we can use this this arm for our tutorials if we do some new video content.
Well, we have an interesting question here. While you are mixing, I will explain that, if that is okay.
Yeah, sure.
All right, so Samiha, hi, I have heard about another color wheel, red, green, and yellow. Together they make white. Can you enlighten me further? Yes, Samiha, gladly. So, we have two ways of mixing colors. One is subtractive, and one is additive. I think so. Anyways, said differently. One is where you actually mix paint together, and the other is when you mix light together, right? So, you know, white light is basically made out of spectrum of all the colors we can see, roughly said. And when you mix them all together, you get white light, the way we perceive it as humans. Because animals, they perceive it differently, they have different cones in their eyes. So when you mix, like you said, red, green, and yellow, which is RG, red, green, and blue. I'm sorry, red, green, and blue. It's not yellow. It's RGB. You get white light. And this is what is used in monitors. You know, RGB color scheme and CMYK color scheme. So the CMYK, the cyan, magenta, yellow, this is when you actually print stuff, when you actually bring it as a material on paper. But when you only have light that only reflects off a surface, then you only need those three, so red, green, and blue, RGB, to create white light. And the interesting thing is when you have this subtractive way, which Sonia is doing now, actually mixing paint, then the more paints you mix together, the darker it gets. And when you have the other one, the other way around, obviously the more light you add, the brighter it gets, and in the end ultimately becomes white light. So I hope this answered your question. This is the different kind of color wheel. This is the RGB color wheel. And we cannot use it in this kind of art. If you were like a light artist, doing some light installations, you would use that. Or if you're a digital artist that never has the wish to print something out, but it will always live, your artwork will always live on a screen which emits light, then you can work in an RGB environment. I hope this is not too complex.
So that means that if you're working on both fields, you need to export one document or one piece of art in RGB and the second one in CM.
Yeah, well, the problem is that immediately RGB colors are much more vivid when you're painting digitally, because they're really, they're just more vivid colors because they're made of light that gets lighter and lighter when you mix it. And CMYK are always a bit more muted. So, you do a piece of artwork in RGB, you think it's amazing, and then you convert it in CMYK and it's like, it's not that amazing. So it's a good idea, if you know it's going to be printed out, to work from the beginning in a CMYK environment.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, you see, that's a good tip.
A bit of a digital art tip there. If any one of you ever painted digitally, using an iPad, Photoshop, whatever, would be interesting to know. Yeah, so what is going on in your corner?
Okay, so I'm just finishing my secondary secondary colors part. I mixed all the tones and now I already created 6 colors. So we have the basic ones, which are the yellow, magenta, and cyan blue, and then we mixed those two primary colors to create this hot red, or I don't know, bright red, or how to say. Then we created this indigo blue violet and also the green from the cyan blue and the yellow.
So these are the secondary.
Those are the secondary.
All right.
Yeah. Okay, and now I'm gonna move on to mixing the tertiary colors. And the tertiary colors are a mixture of those two colors. So this space will be filled with mixture of those two colors, and then this one mixture of those two. And that basically means that we're gonna add half of the basic color, the primary color, and half of this secondary color.
So if you're mixing it from these two, you would take 2/3
of yellow
and 1/3 of magenta.
Yeah.
To get this one here.
Yeah.
Because this one is made half magenta, half yellow.
True. Yeah.
Because actually 3/4 yellow and 1/4 three quarters yellow, 1/4 magenta.
3/4, yeah, that's right.
Mathematicians out there, please validate this statement.
Okay. How are you doing? Are you following along, or are you just watching this relaxing Saturday color wheel tutorial?
Yeah, in what paints did you decide to use? Are you doing it with watercolors, acrylics, gouache, something else? Do you have colored pencils, markers maybe? You know, everything is really possible.
Okay, so I'm gonna position my color like here.
All right, we've got Sonia. We have to send some love out. We just got a donation from Michelle. Thank you, Michelle. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
You get a heart. Sonia also sending hearts through the camera. So Michelle just donated to us via a super chat. Thank you, Michelle. This supports our channel and enables us, you know, to do it more and more full time, basically. And if you want to support us in any other way, the thing that, you know, would mean most to us is to share it with friends, share it with people who might be interested, and also give the video a thumbs up, a like.
Thumbs like is also fine.
Give it a thumbs like. You know, everyone on YouTube always says like smash that like button, but you know, we are more sophisticated. I would be totally satisfied if you gently clicked that like button. It helps the video be more visible to everyone else who might be interested.
Ah, the orange, look at it.
Oh, the orange. Wow, beautiful orange.
Yes, this is why we used gouache. We went shopping and we bought this beautifully pigmented, high quality gouache.
Yeah, basically today, or like, yeah, today the stores opened in Berlin, more or less.
Mm-hmm.
So we went to this big art supply store together with hundreds of other artists from Berlin who all were deprived of their art supplies in the last month and a half.
Yeah, it was a pretty special moment.
Yeah, we had to wait in line for like 45 minutes to get to the checkout. So we have just watching, but I want to do this in gouache later. This is great, Coleman, I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Radka also following in watercolors. And Zoe following sort of mixing some colors from the limited color palette, and I'm using that she's been using over the last couple of months.
Mm-hmm.
And then Kim using watercolors today. Okay, great. So a lot of you are using watercolor. I'm really interested how this will turn out. So do make sure to, you know, take a snapshot with your phone and share it on Instagram, tagging us, or share it in the Facebook group, so we can see how it turned out.
Yes, I'm using. I'm almost never using that kind of paint, so in tubes, I mean, and that's why I really have a bit of trouble just applying the right amounts, you know, to define what's the right amount of yellow and magenta, and it's not so easy.
Yeah. Struggles of the color world.
And also this different medium, I noticed that the application of color is also a bit different. So you see all the strokes
with the gouache.
Yeah, with the gouache, or at least much more than with watercolor. And yeah, it's quite a different technique.
Yeah. Well, every art material has like a different technique that you must master to really make it work, I think. So Justine just asked, can you explain again how to get the tertiary colors?
Yes, sure. Okay, so we have the primary colors, which are those three. And then the secondary colors are mixture of the primary colors. So this is the secondary one.
So 50-50.
So 50-50. 50, this is 50% of cyan blue or the blue and 50% of red. Create a secondary color. And that means that 50% of yellow and 50% of magenta or red creates this secondary tone. So this is also 50-50. 50-50%. And then, if you want to create the tertiary color, so the third level, which is this one, and this one, which I didn't fill, and those holes that all these places that will be filled very soon, you need to mix this tone with primary tone. But if you look at this one was 50-50, and this one is whole. That means that we're gonna add 75, which means 1 unit of this, and then additional 25% of this one.
So if you still have your secondary color, just mix your secondary color with your primary color.
Yeah.
Why Sonia does this math is because her secondary colors are drying up really fast and she cannot use it to mix the tertiary color. But if you have watercolors, you will probably just still have your secondary color in a puddle because they don't dry out that fast. So just use that one and mix it with the primary color. Yeah. I hope this answered the question. Justine, tell us if this helped.
So are you following along fine, or are you having any additional trouble to that?
Yeah, if you have questions, just write it in the comments. And if you're watching this on replay, just leave us a comment in the, down below the video. Even if you have a question, we'll definitely answer it. We'll answer you in the comments. And if you have some feedback for us, we'd love to hear it. We always like to hear in which direction, if you like the tutorial, if we should make more on the topic, what other topics are you interested in. It's very valuable to us if you give us a bit of a feedback. Yeah, to see what we can help you with, basically. Oh wow, this is beautiful.
Yeah, those colors are just so vibrant. And this is also one topic in watercolors that I also discovered, that that if we mix like very clean colors which don't have additional undertones, we will always get brighter colors. And then if you add some white to it or some black to create some deeper tones, you're gonna notice that your paintings are going to be much vibrant as well. So this is also something that you need to consider, because sometimes you're just asking yourself, okay, I mixed this color and this color, and this should actually produce something beautiful, but at the end it looks like very brown and dirty, like dirt color or something, and you were not expecting that. You wanted actually achieve something different. So yeah, that happens if you're using mixture of already mixed colors.
Yeah, so it's always a good idea to go for more primary colors. We have also here a comment that probably is this sort of a problem. Glenn says to get the shades in grades around Winsor blue watercolor is tough. Yeah, Winsor. We have a Winsor, right? As well. So yeah, it might be the Winsor blue, might not be like the primary blue, but it already might have some magenta in it.
You can also Google the color and then we can.
Yeah, so basically when you will be mixing, let's say, it with yellow, there is going to be some magenta sneaking in there, making it not like perfect green, but more brownish green or more muted green. It's still going to be green, but it's just going to be a bit more muted. Yeah.
Yeah, sometimes we have the feeling that it will work very pretty and very nicely, and it's gonna mix totally fine. But if you put this color before you use it together, or you just on a piece of paper, and position it beside the colors you would like to mix it, you can sometimes you can see the undertones that are being used in that color, and that's how you can also decide if that's the right color to use for mixing or not.
So basically what you're practicing when you're making the color wheel is also color mixing. And you will notice, and this was a very interesting process with me, that you slowly start to notice what Sonia just explained. You slowly start to recognize the mixture of colors in one certain shade. You know, I look at one color now and I can see like, oh yeah, this is blue, but I can see there's some yellow in there as well.
Yeah.
So it's interesting. It's an interesting process getting used to colors. So this is basically a good practice for that.
This is also all the artists, the masters, when they paint, they don't think about those things anymore because they did it so often, so many times. They don't need to think about those things anymore.
This is true. All right, so we have a small discussion about this Windsor here. So it's apparently phthalo blue.
Can you show me that on internet? What
Yeah,
kind of
so
color
this is something like this. I mean,
okay.
It can be very overpowering, maybe because of the ingredient it is created from. So this is also one level that you maybe not consider, you know, because different shades are made from different ingredients, different minerals, you know, maybe artificial, chemical, and organic stuff. And some of that stuff is actually quite strong and overpowers other materials used to mix those colors.
But it looks very similar to this one that I created when I mixed the indigo, violet, and the blue tone.
Yeah, looks like it has a tick of magenta in there.
Yeah.
Interesting stuff.
So that means this color is not as clean as it should be.
Yeah.
But it's very, usually in watercolor sets, you get a set of colors that work very well together, and they mix also very good together, and they also consider that they are very versatile. So it's not necessary that those colors that I used, that they are very useful, because you still need to, these are very, very bright colors. And if you want to use them, like in real life situation where you would like to recreate an urban sketch or something, you need to be very able to add white and black to get different undertones and hues, so that it fits with that situation. And what's usually good in those watercolor sets is that you have pre-mixed colors.
That already, and they're all the same brand.
Yeah.
This is generally a very good point. It's a good idea to just mix with one medium anyways, but to also just use one brand, right?
When using brand, one. Yeah. I mean, through time you also develop skills, and then you see the differences and what fits together and not. But it's always safe to start with one brand or one set of colors, and then when you get a bit better and you notice that something's lacking, then you buy something additional.
All right.
Yeah.
So how is everyone doing? Have you already, I see some people have already finished, some will be doing this tomorrow. This is completely fine, you can do it at your own pace. If you have any questions, write it in the live chat, and if it's on replay, write it in the comments below, so we can clarify anything about this process, so you will be on your way to creating an amazing color wheel and learning new stuff about color.
But I can tell you something, this was the longest part. Now just some cutting is coming, and a few notes that are coming, and that's it basically.
Awesome, it looks amazing. I really love it. It looks really vivid and strong. And by the way, just a quick question, we're not going to go into this in today's tutorial, but in one of the future ones. So if you want to create more pastel colors or all these shades and everything, what would one be mixing to these colors?
Well, it depends what you would like to achieve. So if you would like to achieve pastel colors, then you should mix white to it, like a lot of white, right? I mean, if you want to dilute this color you and get like a nice creamy pastel tone, then you probably need to add like 9 units of white and 1 unit of this strong pigment, and then you're gonna get like a nice pastel-y tone. But of course you can always do those tones darker by adding black, right?
Yeah, adding black would make them darker, yeah.
And you can also add gray.
And gray would make them desaturated.
Yeah.
Right?
So gray is a mixture of white and black, right? So that would make them desaturated, and that would be, yeah, how can you describe it?
Kill them?
Yeah. Sometimes, yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
desaturated,
it would take away a bit of this pigment.
Yeah.
This strong pigment.
Yeah.
Okay.
Without taking away the value, without making it brighter or darker.
Okay, so this is drying now. So I would suggest that we maybe start working on this small piece, which is going to come and sit then here in between. So that we let this part dry meanwhile.
And now comes the fun part, because now we're getting into how to use the color wheel. So we looked at what are the primary colors actually. We looked at mixing colors, and now we're going to look at a bit of color theory. So we're going to look at color harmonies and color, color combinations. And this, when I learned it, was completely mind-blowing. I was like, what? There is a formula to make nice color schemes? I thought it was like a feeling, you had to learn it, you have to practice it, and the artists just have this amazing, sixth sense to mix colors. I mean, which some people do, but there is actually a formula to help everyone else who doesn't have that. And these are called the standard color harmonies. And basically what we're going to do now is learn about those and prepare this little spinner in the middle that will help us use this knowledge.
Okay, so what I'm gonna also do right now, because I don't want to touch those colors, I think they need like 2 minutes to dry, but in meantime we can also just start telling you something a bit about this color wheel. So as you notice, some colors are brighter and some colors are darker. The brighter colors are also warmer than the other part. So that's why we divide the color wheel into groups. The first group is the warm group, and the second one is the cold group. And what I want to define in this color wheel is also just a small reminder that we have the warmer group of colors, and then we also have the colder group of colors. And usually the warmer group of colors starts with yellow, and then imagine that you just cut this in half, and where it cuts in half, that means that this, so in my case, my right side is the warm group of colors, and then the other half is going to be the cold one. Okay, so I'm gonna just add 2 lines here.
Like so this is a good piece of color theory to know, right? If you want to evoke certain effects or emotions with your image, warmer colors are much more welcoming, convey different emotions. They're cool colors, which you probably know. It's more calming, maybe even sad. It has this more calm emotions, while warmer colors has more, euphoria, love, warmth. So this is a bit of color psychology.
Okay, so what I also added is the outer line. You can add this line or also not. And in this space, you can then later on write the names of the color. But I think we're so far that we can start just cutting out the pieces that we that we're gonna need. So this is this one, because I don't want to start just adding fields of information just based on nothing. I just want to position it inside, and then I'm gonna look where to position the certain shapes.
So people are saying it's very helpful. Roxy, thanks a lot. I really glad you like it. If you're liking the video, give it a thumbs up so we can get it out to more people, and definitely share it. Share it with people who might also be interested in basic color theory and want to go on the path of learning how to use color, be it in like art, painting, and stuff like that, or also design, where color is very, very important.
Et voila.
Voila.
Okay, so I have the first one, and now I need to position this one. So first we want to create, there are a few color harmonies, as you probably know. And
what is a color harmony?
I think that's something you need to explain.
The first okay. So as far as I would put it, or I understand it, the color harmony is a combination of colors that look well together. They harmonize with each other in a certain way. When you see them next to each other, they bring each other to life. They even make each other glow, make each other brighter. And we have different color harmonies that have a different effect on us and can be used for different things. And yeah, we're gonna look at what, 3 today?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Okay, so we have, first one is the complementary tone. This means we take one, for example, in our case, because I would draw my shapes inside like this. I would explain this on yellow, which is this tone, and then you take the one on the opposite side. So basically, if you would draw the line, it would be like here. So this means this is the complementary tone. They complement each other. They make each other glow. They make look each other better. And then this is the first one. The second one is the split complementary. And the split complementary are the colors, is the same color that we just take, like this yellow, and the colors beside this tone. So it's like complementary but in split. And that's why it's adding 2 tones. These are like the tertiary tones and the primary tone. So this is called the split complementary. And let's first, so I drew one point here where in the middle of our yellow, and then I imagined I would also draw like a point here and here. And then now I will just draw like a triangular shape for our split complementary harmony.
Will you also add one for a complementary, just an arrow?
Yeah, I will.
This is interesting. So the complementary is a combination of only 2 colors, right?
Yeah.
And the split complementary already adds a third color. I mean, not like the 2 and an additional one, but like one remains the same, but the 2 are the adjacent ones to the one that lies on the opposite side of the color you picked.
Okay, so we have the split complementary color scheme. So this is the complementary, the line for the complementary tones, and this is the split complementary one. And then we have the triadic tone, which means the triad is the harmony that has, how do you explain that?
It's a harmony between 3 colors that are equally distant from each other on the color wheel.
Wow, yeah, exactly that. And you can see it like here. For example, if we take, again, the yellow, the equal distance from yellow would be the blue tone and this red one. So these are basically the 3 primary tones. And for example, if we would take the green one, if we would see which one is the triadic harmony to that green one, is this reddish orange and the indigo blue or indigo violet in that case. So let's try to draw that in. if we think about that we are analyzing, for example, our yellow tone.
So it's like a regular triangle.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So this is our primary color, and then if we're searching for a triad, 1, 2, 3. So the fourth one would be this one. So this is my first one. And then again, 1, 2, 3. This is the fourth one. So this is my additional, or the last part of the triadic harmony.
Nice.
Yeah, I think that's a bit harder. This is the hardest part to explain, but this is the crucial part when drawing or creating your own color wheel.
So maybe if you're just not 100%, if you don't understand it 100%, follow Sonia. And in the end, when we're done with this, we'll show you how you will use this, and everything will become clear. Why are we doing these triangles and shapes now? You will see in the end, this is the thing that helps you most with the color wheel, in my opinion.
Okay, so now the next part is that you can imagine that we have here 2 tones, and then the next color harmony is the tetradic color harmony.
So tetra, 4, it has 4 colors in the combination.
Yeah, which means those 2, for example, and those 2. Or like those 2 tones and those 2 tones. So imagine that you would draw like parallel lines, and where the parallel lines would touch the color, this is the harmony of tetradic group. Yeah. Okay, so in this case, if I have here the 2 blues already, and I would like to continue this shape here, I would just then add one here, which is this one. And then if this is the first one and one ahead, this would be the second one.
All right, so we get basically like a rectangle now.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Very nice.
So later on, you can also just add some colors, like here. I then took some alcoholic markers and then emphasized each color harmony with one color. And then when you turn it around, you can always know exactly which color harmony are you using.
So this is quite important right now, what you just showed real fast. Maybe we can, in the end, explain it a bit in depth, or you want to go into it?
We can do it also now,
Maybe I'll get one of these. Because this part, Sonia just explained, is the thing that makes, in my opinion, the color wheel so useful. That's why we are creating a spinner on it. I mean, if you don't have tools to do the spinner, it's fine. You can also just draw what Sonia drew in the middle of the color wheel, and then you will have to imagine it spinning. But if you have it as a spinner, it's really, really practical and really nice, because you will be able to turn around these triangles, picking or pointing with one corner to your favorite color, to the color you want to base your harmony on, and then it will lead you to the other 2 or 3 colors or one color that look really well with it, right?
Mm-hmm.
So when this is finished,
okay, so
we can see this in effect.
Just because, so that it's a bit more clear, I will color the lines, or the lines for the harmonies together right now, so that it won't be just like abstract lines that don't have anything to do.
I like it. It makes really recognizable.
Yeah, I think so too. Okay, so, and then what's missing is here one line that would emphasize the complementary harmony, but I'm missing one color, so.
What can I provide you with?
I don't know. You can also give me red there. Yeah, this one. Very nice. Okay.
So in our new creative corner that we are slowly building where we're also filming this. We have now this new video setup and everything. We'll definitely do a video tour of our creative corner soon, and show you what we set up for ourselves to be able to do creative work here as productively as possible.
Okay, so what I'm adding right now are the lines for my warm tones. So before that, we just drew this line inside and here in the inner part of the circle, and now I just started coloring this line in. I'm just thinking about how did we position it here. I think this is right. And now here comes the other part.
So these are the warm and the cool color half of the color wheel.
Yeah.
Nice. So there's many things that this color wheel will tell you. To tell you how to mix colors, which are the cool ones, the warm ones, which are primary, secondary, tertiary colors, and which are the color harmonies.
Okay, and I'm also gonna write warm on one side and this one cold. So as you see, a few parts already start drying, and the next part that is following, we just need to, as I made this a bit more pretty, and I also, so here those lines, I didn't do them like very properly and very precise, and that's why I added here black lines in between, and also here the black outline, and also on the inner side.
Black really makes it look nice.
It makes it look much more professional. And then I also added at the end the names of the colors, and this is very, very good, because then you know which colors you mixed together to create this color wheel, because you can still, maybe if you were using like normal red and blue and yellow, then your color wheel looks totally different than mine. So that's why that's important, and it's also very good for you. Sometimes we're confused and we don't know exactly which color combinations do we create while mixing 2 or 3 colors together, and that's why it's very good if we just add some names here as well. So what's left here to do is just add some dark outlines, something that will separate the colors, name every color that you have used and created, and then cut out this part. On this part, you already drawn some color harmonies, and then of course you can add the names for them as well. So this was the first one. In my case now, the orange one is the split complementary, the red line is the complementary, then we have the triadic, and then we have tetraidic. The tetraidic ones are the one who have like 4 sides.
So the tetradic is basically the square and the rectangle in Sonia's case.
Yeah.
Just a bit differently positioned 4 colors.
And then at the end, of course, you just cut out everything together, make a hole in the middle like this. So for this part, we used just like some regular, very easily found piece for just pinning paper together.
No idea what this piece is called.
Yeah, sorry.
We didn't even know the German name or the Slovene name, you know, let alone English.
Yeah. But hey, I mean, I think you know what this is. Maybe you have some different kinds of pin, or maybe you have something similar in your sewing kit that you can use. But yeah, this is how it looks like in the end.
Awesome. So, for example, to look at one final time at the color harmonies. Let's say I know I want to use the violet blue in my drawing or painting. How do I use now this spinner to determine which colors will look well with violet blue?
Well, first we need to locate the violet blue, right? Mm-hmm. And position, and I will say, because I read it like a book, for example, I would first turn it around and find the violet blue. Okay, so I would like to use this tone, this one here. And then I would like to turn this spinner so that it points into the direction of my color. And then I need to decide how many colors would I like to combine with or mix, or what kind of harmony would I like to create. And you said what?
So let's say I want to use 3 colors.
You want to use 3 colors.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is pretty easy, right? Because we already drawn these triangle shapes here, you know that you can create the split complementary color harmony or the triadic one. The split complementary one would be this orange color and the yellow one. So this would be like this harmony. Imagine that here is no colors in between.
And they would immediately look well together, right?
Yeah, look at this. I mean, this would be like...
Yeah. So it's already a preset perfect combination. You don't have to think much about it.
Yeah. And or, if you would like to do the triadic one, then imagine that you would then use the violet blue, the orange red, and the yellow green.
Amazing.
So this would be your second option then.
So this really helps me because you can turn it around to every possible color and immediately get the color combinations that will look well with it. And I invite you to try it out and use it once your color wheel is done. Yeah,
I think this is a very valuable addition to your color set or color, your color or painting set. Try to, I don't know, maybe you can add some plastic foil on it so that it won't get wet, because if you were using something like some water soluble paints, then probably it's not allowed to come in contact with water. But otherwise, we can just recommend this to you. We think it's an amazing tool that can bring a lot of value to your work. Yeah.
Okay, so basically we're nearing the end.
Yeah, I think so.
And maybe I'll just throw back to see a recap what we actually learned today. I think it's good to always remember. So we found out what are the primary colors, so cyan, magenta, yellow. We learned how to mix them to get secondary and tertiary colors. We learned how to make the color wheel by mixing them and positioning them, and how to use this wheel and how this wheel would help you. So I'm interested, did this video help you? Was this helpful? Was it clear enough? And if there's something that's uncertain, please give us feedback so we can maybe clarify it. And Sonia, what do we have in store for the next live streams?
Well, a few things. On Monday, the 11th, we're gonna train your imagination. Again, we're gonna do some creative exercises or challenges that will bring us even further in our creativity. Then on Wednesday, we'll need to think about it a bit more. So that will be announced in the future days. And then on Friday, as always, there's a Feedback Friday coming up.
Alright, so Feedback Friday is amazing. You can just send us your stuff and we'll give you feedback. And also it would be amazing to see what you all did. And a great way to do this is definitely in the Facebook group, where we can share each other's work and comment on it and learn from each other. So would be really interested how your color wheels turned out. So if you take a snapshot with your phone, you can just post it in the group or on Instagram tagging us, and we'll be able to see.
Yeah. I mean, I hope you could follow and that it brings you some value, and also that you had fun doing it. And yeah, because I mean, look at it. So bright and beautiful. You just need to have one.
Yeah, so I think people enjoyed it. We'll be starting my day tomorrow with this art project to better understand color. It was very helpful. Thanks, guys. It's Roxy. So thank you all for joining again. We thank you all for your support. You can support us even further by liking the video, sharing it, and subscribing to follow all our future stuff.
Yeah. Till next time.
Keep on drawing.
And have fun.
Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.